coming up. Your knees are hip width apart with a slight micro bend. So we've got that nice neutral pelvis and that nice neutral spine. So we're going to lengthen our arms over our head, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and back in front. Don't have the band too tight, so we're just warming up, squeezing your shoulder blades together, opening up your chest. Your arms come slightly behind you and in front. Now, only if you want to, you can come up onto your tiptoes and back down to the soles of your feet. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together, opening up my chest, and I'm coming onto my tiptoes. But remember, you don't have to come onto your tiptoes, or you can stay on your tiptoes. Focus on the point out in front, pulling that belly button to the spine really helps with your balance. We'll just do a couple more. Lengthening through the joints, lengthen, lengthen. Keep those arms nice and straight. Just mobilizing the shoulder joints, opening the chest, and back to center. We're just going to dip our chin to our chest, gently roll your head to the left and right, dipping your chin to your chest. Really relax the muscles in your neck, dipping your chin to your chest. And back to center. We're going to lengthen our arms over our head and we're going to do prayer mountain. So we're in mountain, pull your belly button to the spine and then prayer your hands together. Arms in line with your ears. Remember, you can come up onto your tiptoes if you want to. Back to mountain. Lengthen your arms, shoulders down your back pockets, chest out to the sun and back to prayer. You're coming down to the soles of your feet. You can, if you want to progress, you can glue your ankles together as we lengthen over to the right, sticking out to your left hip. So my arms are in line with my ears, and I'm lengthening those arms, sticking out that hip. I can feel a deep stretch in my hips and my waist. Squeeze your glutes, pull your belly button to the spine. It protects your lumbar spine. And over to the left, sticking out your right hip. Lengthen, lengthen. Feeling it, squeeze the glutes, pull the belly button to the spine. Protects your lumbar spine. If it's too uncomfortable, come into a regular stance. We're going to do one more. Lengthen, keep those arms lengthened. Arms in line with your ears if you can, lengthen. And now you can have the band a bit tight if you want to. Just pull the band gently apart so you feel a deeper stretch in the waist and in the hips. Squeeze the glutes, pull your belly button to the spine. Prayer and back to center and over to the other side. So as I always say, we're lengthening, sticking out that hip. Squeeze the glutes, pull your belly button to the spine. You don't want to be leaning forward or leaning back. You're in between that double glazing. So pulling this band deepens my stretch in my waist and my hips, but also holding that stretch, squeeze your glutes, just strengthens. And back to center. We're just going to do lengthen our arms away from each other. So stay at 180 degrees. So I'm lengthening my arms away from each other. My shoulders stay down my back pocket. So I don't do that. We're going to do a bit of balance. You don't do that. You've got to keep your shoulders down in your back pockets. And you come to a point that's good for you. So pull that belly button to the spine, chest out to the sun. Lengthen the leg. So relax the foot, lengthen through the hip joint, lengthen through the shoulder joint. Have that band as slack as tight as you want. Just come to a point that's good for you. You might just be able to get your big toe off the floor, or you might be able to come a bit deeper. Micro bend in the knee, that supporting leg. Shoulders down your back pockets. We're going to hold it, rest whenever you like and come back into position. But can you see my body? I'm not doing that. You've got to stay at 180 degrees and you might be able to come to T. So you do the level that's good for you. We'll hold it for a few more seconds and back to center. Just roll out your shoulders and we'll just do the other side. Remember, have the band as slack as tight as you want. I'm at 180 degrees, one straight line. Shoulders stay down my back pockets, pulling my belly button to the spine. And I'm just micro bending my supporting leg and I'm lengthening through the joints. Just come to a point that's good for you. But you don't want to do this. My shoulders are not in my back pockets. My spine is nice and neutral. So come to a point that's good for you. Micro bend in that supporting leg. You can have a little rest and come back into position. So I'm really working my quads there, the muscles in the front of my supporting leg. Lengthening through the joints, really feeling it in my glutes. Lengthening my arms away from each other. And we'll come back to center. And just roll your shoulders. And we're just going to do our hamstring stretch. Drop the band. We do a hamstring stretch. So can you see, I'm stepping my right foot out in front. I'm holding onto my left supporting leg. I'm flexing my foot and I'm sticking out my bottom. And on my seat bones, there's headlights. Straight back. So keep a straight back and just lower so you feel a deep, until you feel your sweet spot. So you feel a deep stretch in muscles in the back of your legs. So you might be able to come a little bit lower. Keep a straight back, protect your lumbar spine. Feeling a deep stretch in your hamstrings, your glutes. Only if you want to. Slowly roll back up. I'm going to show you the progression in a minute. And we're going to do one more. So I'm leaning forward. Can you see I'm flexing my foot and my right leg? Sticking out to my bottom. Headlights coming out from my seat bones. Now, only if you want to, you can try to lengthen those arms in front. Don't do it if you get any tension in your lumbar spine. Hold on to that supporting leg. And then C-curve your spine. We do the other side. Left foot steps forward. Can you see I'm flexing my foot there? I'm holding on to my supporting leg. Sticking out my bottoms. I've got headlights coming out from my seat bones, keeping that nice straight back. I'm not arching, keeping a straight back. Pull the belly button into the spine. So you might come down to here. Your sweet spot might be here. Your sweet spot might be a little bit lower. Feeling a nice deep stretch. Now, only if you want to, you can lengthen out those arms. Don't do it if you get any tension in the lumbar spine. And then we C-curve our spine and roll back up, always pulling your belly button to the spine. We do it one more time. I'm sitting into that seat, sticking out my bottom, flexing that foot, feeling a deep stretch in my left leg, keeping a straight back. Only if you want to, you can lengthen out those arms in front. You might even have weights in your hands. If that's hurting your back, you've got to hold on to your supporting leg. And now as I C-curve my spine, I'm really pulling my belly button to the spine and I can feel my deep core muscles rolling my spine back to neutral and back to center. And we just shake it out. And we come down onto the mat. So we step forward, knee comes down. So we come down onto the mat. So you should just feel a little bit more stretched out now and warmed up. So we're going to do a tricep, we're doing a spine stretch, and we're going to be using our triceps. We do this every week. It's layering, so you're stretching your spine, stretching the muscles in the back of your legs, but we're just using our triceps as well. So have the band as slack as tight as you want, underneath the arches of your feet, and you're lengthening up. Pull that belly button to the spine. Remember, I'm going to hold it for 2 to 3 seconds. You might want to stay down there for a lot longer. Again, we're going to have a straight back. Take a breath in, so you breathe out, you lean forward, straight back, flex those feet. I'm being pulled by a piece of string, and I'm hinging from the hips. Feel the length coming from the hips. I'm being pulled by a piece of string, elbows tucked into my rib cage, and I lengthen my arms behind me. Remember, you don't even have to have a band for this one. I'm being pulled by a piece of string. Keep that back, keep that spine nice and straight. And then C-curve your spine. Back to center. So I lengthen up. Some of you might have weights in your hands as well. So I lean forward, hinging at the hips. Keep that lumbar spine nice and straight, hinging at the hips. Flexing my feet. Feeling now the deep stretch in the muscles in the back of my legs. I'm being pulled by a piece of string. The length is coming from my hips. Elbows tucked into my rib cage. And I lengthen my arms behind me, holding it for 2 to 3. You can hold it for a lot longer if you want to. Really feeling that in the triceps. And then I'm C-curving my spine back to center. So we come down in a straight back, C-curve up, lean forward. So I'm really lengthening through my hip joints, flexing my feet, feeling a deep stretch in the muscles in the back of my legs, elongating my spine. Now working my triceps. Your bingo wings. So I'm holding it for 2 to 3. You might want to hold it for a little bit longer. And then C-curve your spine. Back to center. Drop the band and we're just shake it out. Then we're just going to do a regular spine stretch. So we're lengthening our arms up to the ceiling. Feel like we're stretching our triceps there. Lengthen up, flex your feet, hinging forward. Hinging forward, I'm lengthening from the hips. Flex those feet. Just come to, so your sweet spot might be here, that's okay. Don't want any pressure in the lumbar spine, just come to a point that's good for you. But I'm really lengthening from the hip joints. I can really feel the deep stretch in the muscles in the back of my legs and my glutes. but I can feel I'm elongating my spine. And then C-curve your spine and restack your spine one vertebrae at a time and back to center. So we're going to slowly roll down. We're going to really work our deep core muscles now. You know how this one goes. You can either have the assistance of the band and put that little cheek cushion, as I always say, it stops you from falling down. Or you can come at level 1, 2, elbows open, you don't want to see your elbows. Or level 3. So you choose the level that's good for you, really nice and slow. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, lean back by an inch, then tuck in your pelvis. I've relaxed my feet, relax your leg, scoot that pelvis. So I'm squeezing my glutes, pulling my belly button to the spine. So I'm really tucking my tailbone under. Breathe, remember to breathe. Now I'm slowly rolling down one vertebra at a time. The more I scoot my pelvis, tucking my tailbone under, so you're going to squeeze your glutes, pulling that belly button to the spine, the more I'm turning my spine into a wheel. Remember to breathe. Really feel that in the core now. Remember, if you're finding it too much, come down a level. If you're finding it too easy, come up a level. Elbows open. Front hits every single vertebrae on the mat, slow and controlled. Really feeling that in my deep core muscles. And then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. So you can cross your ankles if you can, pulling your knees apart. Feeling a deep stretch in the lumbar spine. Remember, if you want to go a little bit further, you can lengthen your legs over your head, down your shoulders, or you might want to do a little bit of core with this as well, lengthening legs and arms up to the ceiling. Now keep on hugging the left leg and lengthen the right leg away. Really hug the knee to the chest, relax the muscles, lengthen through the hip joint. You're going to bring your left leg slightly out to the side so your thigh skims your rib cage. Still lengthening, feeling a deep stretch here in your hams, hip flexors and your glutes. Hold on to your hamstring, calf muscle your ankle and lengthen your leg up to the ceiling and push into your heel. I did that slightly wrong, didn't I? It's Monday. Pushing into your heel and start circling one way and then the other. Now, if you want to have a little bit of core work at the same time, can you see I've lengthened and lifted my head and shoulders? Don't do it if it's too much. So that's a little core work at the same time, stretching the muscles in the back of my legs. Bend the knee and swap over, hugging your knees to your chest. Your knee to your chest, lengthen, lengthen and relax. Bring your right knee out to the side so your thigh skims your rib cage. You can really feel a deep stretch in the hip flexors and in my glutes. Hold on to your hamstring, calf muscle your ankle, not the back of your knee. So that's what I will say, if your sweet spot is there, that's okay. So just come to the point that's good for you. And we start pushing into the heel, but circling your ankle one way, then the other. Now, if you want a little bit more core work, can you see I've lengthened and lifted my head and shoulders, still hugging my leg to my chest. So I can really feel that in the core. Bring that knee to tabletop. To your arms, with or without weights, and you bring your knee across your body. Look in the opposite direction. Now, if your sweet spot is just at 20, 30, 40 degrees, that's okay, because you've got to keep your shoulders on the mat. Or you might be able to come a little bit lower, but keep those shoulders glued to the mat. Looking in the opposite direction if you can. Now, you either stay here or you might be able to lengthen out the leg. Don't do it if you get pressure on the lumbar spine. Keep the knee bent. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, either lengthen the leg or bring the bent knee back center. Always relaxing those muscles. Always pulling the belly button to the spine. Creating that corset, protecting your lumbar spine, but really working the deep core muscles. Bring your opposite knee up to tabletop and bring your knee across your body. You just come to the sweet spot that's good for you. Keep those shoulders glued to the mat. Looking in the opposite direction. You can put a little bit of pressure on your knee. Or if you want to progress, you can lengthen out your leg. Don't do it if you get any pressure in the lumbar spine. Either lengthen the leg or bring the bent knee back center. Totally relax the foot and the leg. Really pull that belly button spine. Melt the rib cage into the mat. And I can feel all my core muscles are doing the work there. And then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. If you grab your ball, you're going to put the ball between your knees. And we're going to do a couple of pelvic clots before we come up into a bridge, just to really stretch out. So you're squeezing the ball. I've got hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet. And imagine you've got that marble that sits in between your hip bones. And you're going to, and your, we've done this one before, and your pelvis is a clock face. So you're rolling the marble to your belly button, 12 o'clock, imprinting your spine. And then you're rolling the marble over to the left, your left hip, 3 o'clock. Pubic bone, 6 o'clock, arching your spine, rolling the marble to 9, right hip, and back to 12, belly button. So you're going to do that twice, arching my spine, and up to 12, imprinting my spine. Roll the marble in between those hip bones, and then we're going to go in the opposite direction. I'm imprinting my spine, rolling the marble to my belly button, 12 o'clock, over to my right hip, 9, arching my spine, pubic bone, 6, over to my left hip, 3, back to 12, and then I'm rolling back to 9, 6, pelvic clock. Try to gently squeeze the ball, really mobilizing our pelvis. I've come back to 12, so I've imprinted my spine, and I'm rolling the marble back in between my hips. So I've got a nice neutral pelvis. I'm removing my block. We're going to come up into a bridge. So you can come up squeezing the ball. You can come up on one leg or both legs. So if you roll up, if you're going to roll up on one leg, you're going to come up like that. Or the rest of us, just stay on the soles of your feet. So it's a nice deep stretch, but I'm squeezing the ball, squeezing my glutes. Can you see I'm pushing into my heels, firing up the glutes? Only if you want to, you can come onto your tiptoes. If you don't come on your tiptoes, push into your heels. Lengthen your arms up to the ceiling. Maybe some of you can come a little bit further and lengthen them over your head. Lengthen your knees and arms away from each other. Squeeze the ball and squeeze the glutes. Then tuck in your pelvis, C-curve your spine. I'm rolling down one vertebrae at a time, and then lengthen your arms back to center. Some of you, can you come up on your opposite leg? For some of you want to come up on one leg. Now I'm squeezing the ball, pushing into my hips, squeeze my glutes. Really firing up the glutes. I'm still pushing my heels. Some of you might want to come up onto your tiptoes. If you're not coming up onto your tiptoes, keep on pushing into those heels. Lengthen your arms up to the ceiling. Some of you might want to come a little bit further. Squeeze the ball, squeeze your glutes, fire up your glutes. Then tuck in your pelvis, C-curve your spine. And I'm rolling down one vertebrae at a time, trying to hit every single vertebrae on the mat. Squeezing the ball at the same time, squeezing my glutes. And lengthen back to center. Keep the ball between your knees. If you grab the block again, it's really important you're always on a block. So your arms, it's a soft T. So we're just going to do the hip roll. So you're squeezing the ball, pull your belly button spine, hardly any pressure under the soles of your feet. Remember, you're keeping that rib cage melted into the mat. I'm squeezing the ball. Remember, you can keep your feet on the mat, or you can bring your feet up to tabletop for a deeper stretch and working the core a little bit harder. You're dropping your knees over to the left, you're looking to the right, squeezing the ball. Now you lengthen out the top leg. I was going to say, if it's too uncomfortable to lengthen out the top leg, you get pressure on the lumbar spine, reduce your range of motion, or don't even lengthen out the top leg at all. If you're finding pressure on the lumbar spine, just keep those knees bent. So I'm relaxing my foot, looking the opposite direction, lengthening through the hip joint. Squeeze the ball back center, hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet, pulling my belly button spine, melting my rib cage into the mat. Remember, you could be doing this at tabletop. Squeeze the ball over to the right, squeeze that ball so you're really working your deep core muscles, and lengthen out the top leg. Lengthen through the hip joint. Squeezing the ball, bend your knee, and squeeze the ball back center. Some of you might be at tabletop, so you're dropping your knees over to the left, looking to the right, squeezing the ball, and lengthening out the top leg. Lengthen. If it's too uncomfortable, as I was saying, keep the knees bent. Squeeze the ball back center, squeeze the ball, relax the feet. It's all coming from the knees, pulling the belly button to the spine. And over to the right, look in the opposite direction, and lengthen out the top leg. Lengthen through the hip joint. Squeezing the ball at the same time, feeling a lovely deep stretch down the lateral side, but I can really feel I'm working my inner thighs and working my deep core muscles. And back to center. Then drop the ball, hug your knees to your chest, and rock from side to side. Remember, if you want a little bit of a deeper stretch, or you can have stretch and incorporate the deep core muscles at the same time. So you choose the level that's good for you. We're back into supine. We're going to do the bicycle. Every time I do the bicycle, I think of Jenny. And so if you're in your supine position, pubic bone, hip bone, completely horizontal, little arch to my lumbar spine. You can do this with 1 or 2 legs. So I'm hugging my knees to my chest and lengthening my legs up to the ceiling. If you're doing 1 leg, you swap over halfway through. So you just do a 1 leg circle. But I'm going to start with my 2 legs. So I'm lengthening my legs up to the ceiling, taking pressure away from my lumbar spine. And I'm going to start to do bicycles. Small little cycles, pulling my belly button to the spine. Now the aim is to get those cycles as big as possible, and you want your leg lengthened and lowered to the mat, as close to the mat as possible. But don't do it if you get pressure in the lumbar spine. So you just come to a level that's good for you. So you want those cycles to be slow and controlled and as big as possible. You're going up a hill. Now you choose the arm position that's good for you, with or without weights. Slow and controlled. Choose the arm position that's good for you. You know how the arm position works. Now slow and controlled cycles. So you might have little cycles lengthening your legs up to the ceiling. You might have little cycles, you might come down by 20 degrees, or you might have slightly bigger cycles, or you might have really big cycles like hip flexor stretch, split, slow and controlled. Now, if you want to, you choose the arm position that's good for you. I can really feel that in my quads as well as my core. Remember, really slow cycles. Now, if you've chosen to lengthen and lift your head and shoulders, and you really want to progress a little bit more, you can lengthen your arms forward and come up to seated, and you cycle, do 2 cycles, and you slowly roll down, interlacing your fingers behind your head, 2 cycles. Swap legs, I was meant to say, for those doing 1 leg cycles, swap legs. We'll just do a couple more. 2 cycles. This is a full progression here. And 2 cycles. My quads are burning now, the muscles in the front of my legs. Really slow and controlled. We'll just do a couple more. Really feel it in my deep core muscles, my quads. Final one, and then hugging your knees to your chest and rocking from side to side. You choose the level that's good for you. Now the next exercise we're going to do is the crisscross. But as I was saying, for some of you who don't want to float up their head and shoulders, I would like you to do dead bug fly. Can you see I've lengthened my left arm, left leg away, as I lengthen my right arm out to the side, with or without weights. Keep that neutral spine. Lengthen, hold it for a couple of seconds if you can, pulling your belly button to the spine and back to center. Dead bug fly. I would like you to carry on doing that. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. The soles of your feet can be on the mat or up to tabletop. If you don't want to lengthen and lift your head and shoulders off the mat. The rest of us, interlace your fingers behind your head. You have your knees bent. Take a breath in, so you breathe out, you lengthen and lift your head and shoulders. Don't want to see your elbows. And now I'm going to bring my right elbow to my left knee. Can you see I've brought my knee up to tabletop and back to center. Take a breath in, I lengthen and lift my head and shoulders. Left elbow to right knee, up to tabletop. And remember, you lengthen and lift your head and shoulders. Rotate the upper spine only. Elbows open, that's really getting into my deep core muscles. And back to center. Lengthen and lift. Rotation of my upper spine. Bowl soup on my pelvis. Pelvis is not moving. Don't look at your elbows. Hold it for a couple of seconds. Now, if it's really too uncomfortable to lift that leg, just rotation of your upper spine only, keeping the soles of your feet on the mat. Lengthen and lift. Rotate and back to center. Or you lift your knee to tabletop and back to center. Now, if you want to progress further, you don't even rest your head on the mat. Can you see I've lengthened and lift my head and shoulders, and I'm just rotating to one side and then the other. So you choose the level that's good for you. You don't want to see your elbows. So I lengthen and lift, left elbow to right knee at tabletop and back to center, resting on the mat. Lengthen and lift my head and shoulders. Rotation of my upper spine only. My pelvis is not moving at all. Bowl soup on my pelvis is staying completely horizontal. I'm really trying to peel my shoulders off the mat. Now, if that's too uncomfortable, you don't do anything with your legs. And remember, don't pull on that head. So I'm just resting my head in my hands, rotation, or you can bring your knee up to tabletop. So I'm trying to peel my shoulders off the mat, and my chest is, I'm trying to really pull my chest up to the ceiling. Keeping that orange underneath my chin. We're going to do one more. My deep core muscles really burning at the moment. Hardly any pressure under the soles of your feet. Actually, let's just do one more. Elbows open and back to center. Then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. If you can cross your ankles, pulling your knees apart, or lengthen your legs over your head. Choose the level that's good for you. Full body stretch. Pull your belly button spine, melt your rib cage into the mat. Lengthen, lengthen. And then we're going to roll over to the side, and we're going to do a single leg and double leg lift. The progression will be double leg lift. So you choose if you would like a loop band around your thighs. If you really want to torture yourself, you can have a loop band around your ankles, or nothing at all. So we stay lying in between that double glazing, 2 panes of glass. Now, if you find you're wobbling all over the place, you can lengthen your bottom leg slightly out in front for stability. Or if you're not wobbling all over the place, you can have your legs in between that double glazing, nice and long. So we're going to start with a single leg lift. So I lengthen and lift. One leg only. Relax, lengthen through the hip joint. Pull the belly button spine, chest out to the sun, shoulders down your back pockets. So this is single leg lift. And remember, I'm relaxing the foot and all the length comes from the hip joints. Lengthen and lift as high as you can go and back to center. Now, if this feels good for you, just carry on doing single leg lift. If you want to progress, you can rest your hand on your thigh. So remember, you can bring your bottom leg slightly out in front for stability. And we're going to incorporate the arm. Single leg lift, lengthen, lengthen, total stability. And you lengthen your arm over your head. Lengthen through the joints, pulling the belly button spine. I lengthen my arm back to my thigh and back to center. So I lengthen and lift my top leg, pull the belly button spine, and I lengthen my arm overhead. Remember, your bottom leg can be lengthened slightly out in front for stability if you're wobbling all over the place. Lengthen, lengthen, back to my thigh, hand meets my thigh, top leg comes down to the mat, comes down to my top leg. Bottom legs. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you can do double leg lift if you want to. Gluing your legs together. And as you float your arm over your head, you float up your top leg. Pull your belly button, find total stability. You can see I'm wobbling a bit here. Lengthen my arm back to center. Hand meets thigh, top leg meets bottom leg. They're glued together and back down to the mat. So you choose the level that's good for you. It's all about total stability. Keeping that pelvis completely vertical. Double leg lift. Lengthen and lift those legs as high as they can go. Relax the feet. Feel that in the waist. Feel that in the glutes. Feel that in the thighs. Lengthen back to center. Top leg meets bottom leg. And back down to the mat. So you choose the level that's good for you. You can always come up and down a level. So we've got single leg lift. Single leg lift. We incorporate the arm. Lengthen, lengthen. I've got a weight in my hand. You don't have to have anything at all. Lengthen back. I've got light weight, but you might want one a little bit heavier. Don't have a heavy weight if you get any shoulder issues. All gluing my legs together. Lengthen and lift. and double leg lift. Pull the belly button spine, lengthen, lengthen. See if you can hold it for a couple of seconds. This is really working my waist. I can really feel that. Lengthen back to center. We're going to do one more. And then we're just going to come on to open book, just a few of those. And then I've got another little exercise I want us to do. Lengthen and lift, hold it for a few seconds, lengthen back to center, top leg meets bottom leg, and then we just pat it out. Actually, I'm telling an absolute lie. We're going to do, before we do the open book, we're going to do the leg kick, side kick now. So everyone brings their, I'm going to take my band off, everyone brings their bottom leg slightly out in front. You choose the arm position that's good for you. You know how it works. So I'm in between that double glazing, apart from my bottom leg. I lengthen and lift, and I'm going to flex forward, pulse, pulse, and sweep my leg across the table and soft point back, pulse, pulse. Pelvis stays completely vertical. Pulse, pulse, and sweep my leg behind me, opening up my hip flexor, pulse, pulse. Now you choose the arm position that's good for you. So imagine you're lengthening through the hip joint, opening up the hip flexor there, feeling it in my glutes. Choose the arm position that's good for you. Stay at hip height. Remember, you choose the arm position, chest out to the sun, shoulders down your back pockets. Chest out to the sun, lengthen. Imagine, I don't know why they said it, they say this, but you've got to imagine you're sweeping a leg across the table, like you always sweep your leg across the table. Maybe you'll be able to try it later. Can really feel that in my glutes. I'm going to just do a couple more. Remember, you choose the arm position that's good for you. Don't follow me. If it feels too uncomfortable, just come down a level. This is a final one, pulse, pulse, and then bend your knee and just pat it out. Now we're going to go straight into open book, and this is the one I do every week. I think it's a great stretch, really nice stretch, but holding the position really strengthens as well. So I've got my band, or a weight you can have, or both, or nothing at all, and just use the weight of your body. We bend our knees in front. My shins are in line with the edge of the mat. You're lying on the edge of your block. It's really important you lie on the edge of your block, and your arms lengthened out in front. Now you're going to lengthen and lift your leg diagonally across. If you feel too tired to swing your leg, just keep your leg lengthened diagonally across. You're still going to get a nice deep stretch. Or if you want to work a little bit harder, you keep your leg lengthened and lifted. Arms from front, I lengthen my top arm longer than my bottom. My band's quite tight, but remember, you come to the level that's good for you. You don't want to work through pain. You want to feel comfortably challenged. So I'm lengthening my top leg diagonally across, opening up my chest. And then I lengthen my arm back to center, swinging my leg behind me. Lengthen and lift. We'll just do 3 of these. Lengthen my top arm longer than my bottom. This is when you're going to increase your range of motion. My leg can come in front. I'm going to see if I can get it a little bit higher. So I'm holding a stretch there, rotation of your upper spine, holding that stretch strengthened. I can feel a lovely deep stretch. Lengthen and lift that leg behind me. Relax the foot. Lengthen through all the joints. Lengthen, open up. Swing my leg diagonally across. Now my leg's in front, and now it's a little bit higher. Feeling a stretch in my hamstrings, glutes, lumbar spine, and lengthen back to center. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Remember, if your glutes are feeling tired, just keep that leg lengthened diagonally across. Just use your upper body. Can feel that in my hip flexors, feel it in my glutes, and then we bend our knee and just pat it out. And we're going to go straight onto the other side. So slowly come up and we'll roll straight onto the other side. And if I've got time, I'll do my bridge at the end. So we're going to roll straight onto the other side. So we're going to go single leg lift to double leg lift. And then we'll just do the side kick and open book again. So everyone's in between that double glazing. I'm in one straight line, opening up my chest, shoulders down my back pockets, always being pulled by a piece of string. My hips are stacked. I've lengthened my top legs, so my hips are stacked, my knees are stacked. If you're wobbling all over the place, just lengthen that bottom leg out in front for stability. If not, you're in between the double glazing. So we're going to start with a single leg lift. Relax that foot, relax the leg, high as you can, feeling that in the glutes and thighs already. Pull the belly button to the spine. Your pelvis is not going to move, it stays completely vertical. Lengthening lift, single leg lift. Now, if you want to progress, you might, if you put your hand on your thigh, you might want to put your bottom leg slightly out in front for stability. And I lengthen and lift, and I lengthen my arm over my head. Single leg lift, incorporating the arm. I lengthen my arm, lengthen my arm to my thigh, and top leg comes down to the mat or meets your bottom leg. So single leg lift, incorporating the arm. Remember, you don't have to incorporate the arm. Lengthen through the joints, pulling my belly button to the spine. Remember, you don't have to use any small equipment at all. You can just use the weight of your body. Or you might want to progress and do double leg lift. And as I float up my top leg, I lengthen my arm over my head. And you're going to see if you can hold it for a couple of seconds. Pull the belly button spine, lengthen and lift those legs as high as I can. Can go. Hand meets thigh, top leg meets bottom leg, and down to the mat. So you choose the level that's good for you. Pulling, it's all about total stability. I can feel I'm wobbling. Feeling that in the glutes, the thighs, can really feel that in the waist, especially as I incorporate the arm. So if you're getting tired, come down a level. So I'm going to come down a level, and I'm going to do single leg lift, lengthening my arm over my head. Relax the leg, relax the foot, lengthen through the joints. It's all about lengthening through the joints. The more you lengthen, relax those legs and arms, the more you're going to feel it in the core. And I'm getting tired again, so I'm just doing single leg lift. So you choose the level that's good for you. We're just going to do a couple more at the level that's good for you. Pull the belly button spine, lengthen. Final one. Really feeling that all down my lateral side. Total stability. It's all about total stability. And just pat it out. And you choose the arm position that's good for you, because we're going to do, I'm going to take off my band, we're going to do side kick, classic side kick. Everyone lengthens their bottom leg slightly out in front for stability. Everyone's going to do that. The rest of your body is in between two panes of glass, in between that double glazing. I lengthen and lift. I flex forward, kick, kick, and I soft point behind, kick, kick. I flex forward. So your range of motion might be 40, 50 degrees, or you might be able to come to 180 degrees. So you choose the level that's good for you, and choose the arm position that's good for you. So I'm sweeping my leg across the table, keeping my pelvis completely vertical. You choose the arm position that's good for you. Chest out to the sun, shoulders down my back pocket. And if you want to rest, either rest or just reduce your range of motion. I can really feel that in the glutes and the thighs. We'll just do a couple more. Total stability. Can you see the top of my body is not moving? Total stability. Really feeling that in the glutes and the thighs. Just do one more, but you're going to really be working your deep core muscles here. And we'll just bend our knees and just pat it out. We go straight into open book. So again, you choose, it's really important you're lying on your block. You choose if you want equipment, the band, the weights or both or nothing at all. So we've done quite a lot of glute work with those side exercises. So you might not even want to incorporate your legs. So you just want to feel comfortably challenged. So either keep that leg lengthened diagonally across, or you lengthen and lift it. So you choose the level that's good for you. So I lengthen my top arm longer than my bottom. And I open up my book. So lovely deep stretch, opening my waist, my chest. Rotation of my upper spine only. So I'm looking at my pelvis stays completely vertical. And I lengthen my arm back centered, lengthen through the joints as I swing my leg behind you. Some of you might not be swinging your leg because we've done quite a lot of glute work. I lengthen and lift. And then as I open my book, I swing my leg in front and you're going to increase your range of motion. So your range of motion might be diagonally across in front, or you might be able to get it a little bit higher. And close your book. And lengthen and lift behind. See if you can hold it for a couple of seconds. Really lengthen through. Lengthening my arms, increasing my range of motion, feeling a lovely deep stretch. Back of my legs, lumbar spine, glutes, opening my chest, holding that position I know I'm strengthening too. Okay, this is the final one. Lengthen and lift. Then bend my knee and just pat it out. We're going to come straight into prone. So prone today will be a version of the diamond, and we're not going to incorporate the legs. So we're really going to use the muscles in the upper back for this. So you can choose whether you want a band in your hand or weights, and our hands are at diamond. Can you see my hands are on my forehead? I'm going to take a band, or you might want a little weights in your hands or nothing at all. So I'm going to take you through it without the band. So my feet are max width apart, taking pressure away from my lumbar spine, pushing my pubic bone into the mat, pulling my belly button to the spine. So that protects your lumbar spine. So first of all, like our normal diamond, we're going to roll our marble forward, push into your pubic bone, pull your belly button to spine. And I'm lengthening, lifting my head and sternum. I've got hardly any pressure under my hands, and I'm using the muscles in my upper back to lengthen and lift my head and sternum. And back to center. Roll the marble forward. I'm pulling my belly button to spine, squeezing my glutes, pushing my pubic bone into the mat, and I'm lengthening, lifting my head and sternum, using the muscles in my upper back. You can really feel that if you've got hardly any pressure in your palms. Now, if you want to progress, you lengthen and lift your head and sternum, and can you see I'm saluting? My left hand is stuck to my forehead, and back to center. Now, if you want to progress further, you lengthen and lift your head and sternum. Can you see? I'm going to just show you on my left hand. I'm going to lengthen I'm saluting, lengthening my arm out in front, and then I'm lengthening my hand all the way down to my thigh, and it's lateral side flexion. I'm flexing my head to the side. I can really feel that in the waist, lengthening my arm down my thigh, and lengthen back to center, salute, and back down to the mat. So you choose a level that's good for you. So I'm lengthening, lifting my head and sternum, saluting my right hand, lengthening my right arm out in front, lengthening my arm all the way down to my right thigh, flexing to the right. So I'm looking down at my right thigh, flexing to the right so I can feel it in my waist, and lengthen that arm back to center. All of this can be done with a band or weights. So again, I'm left hand, salute. So if that's good enough for you, you come back to center. If you want to progress, you do salute. You lengthen your arm out in front, squeeze the glutes, pull your belly button spine. With or without small equipment, I'm flexing to the side, looking down at my thigh. So I lengthen my arm down to the side. Really flexing to the side. I lengthen my arm in front and back to salute. So you choose a level that's good for you, saluting. You might want to do double salute as you lengthen one arm down to your right and lengthen the other arm out in front. So we've done this before, but I don't want you to incorporate the legs today. I want you to really use the muscles in the upper back. double salute, pulling my belly button spine, squeezing my glutes, pushing my pubic bone into the mat. This is double salute now. Really feeling that in the waist. Can you see I'm looking down at my thighs? If you get tired, you can come down a level. So I'm now just going to do single salute, lengthening my arm in front, keeping my right hand rested on the mat, flexing to the side, looking down, flexing to the side, lengthen my arm in front, salute, back down to the mat. Just do your final one either side, or your final two double. And maybe you're coming down a level, maybe you're just lengthening, lifting your head and sternum only. So maybe you're just lengthening your head and sternum only like this. Hardly any pressure under your hands. Just finish off your final one. And then everyone bring their arm into capital E, elbows in line with your shoulders, and just rock your hips from side to side. Just releasing any tension you have you're holding in the lumbar spine. So we're just going to do our cobra prep now. Make sure those feet are mat width apart. So I'm rolling the marble forward with my nose. I squeeze the glutes, pull your belly button spine, push your pubic bone into the mat. I lengthen and lift my head and sternum. Chest out to the sun, I'm trying to push my shoulders down my back pockets. Now at the same time, I'm pulling my elbows back, but my elbows aren't moving. So I'm sort of pushing into my elbows, pulling them back. It helps me extend my spine. Pull that belly button spine, squeeze the glutes, and lengthen back center. So we're extending our spine. We're going to turn this into lizard, roll the marble forward. Lengthen and lift your head and sternum, chest out to the sun, shoulders down your back pockets. So I'm pulling my elbows down, even though they're not moving, helping me extend my spine. Now I'm pushing into my left hand, looking over my left shoulder, pushing into my left hip. Really look over that shoulder, right elbow glued to the mat. And lengthen back to center. We do the other side. Roll the marble forward, lengthen and lift head and sternum. Chest out to the sun, shoulders down the back pockets. I feel like I'm pulling my elbows back even though they're not moving. Pull that belly button to the spine. Pushing into my right hand, looking over my right shoulder. Push into the right hip. Really look over that shoulder, left elbow glued to the mat. Lizard. And lengthen back to center. Now we're going to fully try to get our elbows off the mat. It doesn't matter if you don't. If you want to increase the spinal extension, you put your hands underneath your shoulders, elbows tucked into your ribcage. Pelvis stays glued to the mat at all times. Lengthen and lift your head and sternum. Now I'm pushing into my hands, so I'm trying to get my elbows off the mat. It doesn't matter if you don't. Chest out to the sun, shoulders down the back pockets. Pull your belly button to the spine. Elbows, your pelvis stays glued to the mat. If your hands are underneath your shoulders, is a deeper spinal extension. Pelvis needs to stay glued to the mat. And lengthen back to center. Everyone puts their hands underneath their shoulders and come up to 4-point kneeling. Make sure you're stacked. We're doing cat and cow. So make sure you're hip width apart, shoulder width apart. Make sure you're nice and stacked as you dip your chin to your chest, squeeze your glutes, tuck your tailbone under, dipping your chin to your chest, pushing into those palms, really rounding that spine. Some of you might want to do 3-point kneeling, a little bit more upper body work. And to cow, sticking out the bottom, squeezing a tennis ball between your shoulder blades. And then we're doing one more cat swap over. If you're doing hands, if you're doing 3-point kneeling. Rest of us pushing into our palms, squeeze those glutes, pull the belly button to spine, dip the chin to the chest, really round that spine. And one more cow, sticking out your bottom, squeezing a tennis ball between your shoulder blades. And back to center. So we're staying in 4-point kneeling. Today we're doing a salute at 4-point kneeling. Now, if some of you are choosing to use a band, I want you to wrap the band around, or you might have a little weight, because you don't want the band to flick into your face, because you're using a band, because we're saluting to the side, but I'm going to show you without the band. So make sure you're stacked, I'm going to sleep my left hand, and we're going to do 3 to 4 one side. And can you see, I'm saluting to the side, rotation of my upper spine, hips are set in stone, and back to center. 3 to 4. Maybe you want to do a few more, maybe you only can manage 1 or 2. Pushing into that left hand, push into the left hand helps me rotate my spine a bit more. Now, only if you want to, you can lengthen the leg, or you can lengthen and lift the opposite leg, but keep the pelvis completely still. Horizontal alignment of your hips, and back to center. You might have that band in your hand. I'm going to stay to my left side so I can show you, see on the screen. So you choose if you want to incorporate that leg. I'm saluting my hand. I'm rotating to the side. Hips are set in stone. Open up the chest. Pushing into that hand, opposite hand, supporting hand, and back center. Only if you want to, you can lengthen that leg. Remember, 3 to 4 either side. If you want to progress a bit further, or you might have a weight in your hand, you lengthen and lift the leg. Pull the belly button to the spine. Open up the chest. When you've done your 3 to 4 one side, you swap over. So you don't have to incorporate the legs. This is hard enough. You might have a little weight or a band in your hand. It's all about keeping that total stability. Bowl of soup on your lumbar spine. Pull the belly button spine. Rotation of your upper spine. I'm wobbling a bit. I should bring my leg down. Hips set in stone, total stability and horizontal alignment. Really feeling that in the waist. What's really important, I do it without the band, when you rotate to the side, I'm thinking about pushing into my supporting hand, and it's amazing how that really fires up the deep core muscles, and it helps me rotate my spine a little bit more. So I'm going to finish off my 3 to 4 one side, and then I'm just going to do 3 to 4 on the other side. And then we're going to come into a child's pose. So open up, rotation of my upper spine, pushing into my left hand. Only if you want to, you can incorporate that leg. Some of you might have a weight or use your band. Choose the level that's good for you. Just doing my final one, and then we're going to all come down into a child's pose. If your knees can be mat width apart, touch your big toes. If that's too uncomfortable, just keep your feet, your knees together. Lengthen the arms forward, push your chest into the mat, rest your forehead on the mat, and just take a couple of breaths and rock your hips from side to side, sway your hips, and just massage your forehead. I'm rolling my head from side to side. Just catch your breath. And then walk your hands over to 10, left hand on right, and really walk them forward, especially your left hand, pushing your chest into the mat, sitting on your heels. Then we walk over to 12, lengthen those arms forward, push your chest into the mat, and then walk over to 2. Left hand sits on right. Push my chest into the mat, feeling a lovely deep stretch. Down my left side there. And then see care of your spine, squeeze your glutes, come up into 4-point kneeling, pull the belly button to the spine. We're going to do thread the needle with or without a band. And you can have a band and a weight if you want to. It's up to you, or nothing at all. So you choose the level that's good for you. So first of all, we're going to lengthen out our right arm. So we're in 4-point kneeling. I'll lengthen my right arm out to the side. I can't do it with the band. And the weight, or up to the ceiling. You choose the level that's good for you. Now we keep our arm lengthened, lengthen, lengthen, back center. Keep that arm lengthened. Don't bend it yet. And then you thread your right arm underneath your left. Pushing into your left hand, rotation of your upper spine. Only if you want to, you can lengthen and lift that left leg. But it's a progression. You don't have to do this. And some of you might choose to swing your left leg out to the side. As you unthread your arm out to the side, or up to the ceiling. See, I've got a weight in my hand now. That makes a huge difference. Oh my gosh, I don't think I can. Do the weight on the other side and lengthen, lengthen, lengthen back to centre. Keep lengthen through your joints and back to centre. And we're going over to the other side. So we're going to lengthen our left arm out to the side, up to the ceiling. Ooh. Can you see? You don't have to use any weights, any equipment at all. I've decided to use the equipment, and that's just up the level quite a lot. Lengthen back to centre. Left hand threads underneath the right. And push into that right hand. Rotation of my upper spine, hips are set in stone. Only if you want to, you can lengthen and lift that right leg and swing the leg out to the side as you unthread your arm out to the side. Oh, I can't do it with a band. Or up to the ceiling. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, open up your chest. Keep that leg nice and lengthened. Stretching the inner thighs and lengthen back to centre. Don't bend the arm, lengthen back to centre. Bring your leg in. Then you sit on your hips and swing your legs round. We're just going to slowly roll down. If you want to take it easy, you can just roll down on the side now, or you might want to challenge yourself as we roll down, stretch it out. You know how it works. You distance your band, level 1, 2, or 3. So relax your feet, relax your legs. I'm going to start at level 2. Lean back by an inch. Tucking your pelvis, C-curve your spine. Remember, some of you might have assistance at the band or at level 1. And we've worked really hard, so you might just want to roll down on your side. So you choose. I can see Diana there. Very good. Lovely. Remember to breathe. And then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Now, if you just grab your band and we stretch it out. And just put the band underneath the arch of your right foot. And your left leg can be bent, slightly extended or fully extended. And remember, your sweet spot might be there, here, or slightly deeper. Just come to the level that's good for you. As long as you can feel that stretch, that sweet spot. Pushing into your heels. You want to feel comfortably challenged. You don't want to feel really uncomfortable, so you're going to end up hurting yourself. And then just drop the foot out to the right, to your left. And again, when I say try not to tug on the band, use your core. If you start using your core, but it's giving you pressure in the lumbar spine, use the band to bring your leg back to centre. So I'm lengthening my leg back to centre. I've got hardly any pressure on that band, but as soon as it goes into the lumbar spine, you pull on that band. You don't want to hurt yourself. And put the band in the left hand and to your right. Again, your sweet spots, your range of motion might be maybe at 20, 30 degrees, 45, it might be a little bit more. Just come to a level that's good for you. Tee those arms, lengthen the arms away from each other as you bring your foot back to centre. And swap over. Right leg can be bent or lengthened depending on your flexibility. Just pull that band towards you. As I was saying, you choose the range of motion that's good for you. It's your sweet spot. Pushing into the heel. Drop your foot out to the left, to your right. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And lengthen back to centre. Put the band in the right hand, to the left. Always pulling the belly button spine. If you can look in the opposite direction. And lengthen back to centre. You just drop the band, we just stretch the glutes. So left ankle on right thigh, hug your right knee to your chest, really relax that right foot. Hug the knee to the chest and you can feel a nice deep stretch in your right glute. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And we just swap over. Right ankle on left thigh, really relax that left foot. Hug the knee to the chest. Just breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. You can feel a nice deep stretch in my right glute now. And just get your breath back. And just slowly put your foot down. You remove your block, just get your ball. Just going to push into the ball for 8. Releasing tension you hold in the head, neck and shoulders. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. Double chin. And release. And again, take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. And release. And one more. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. And release. And just gently roll your head from the left to the right. Really relax the muscles. And just see if you can deepen the stretch using the ball. Just helps release so much tension you hold in your neck. And as I always say, this is one you can do at home 2 or 3 times a day. And back to center. And just focus on your breath. Now when you're ready, if you gently roll to the side and get yourself to seated in your own time, very slowly, because you don't want to feel dizzy, slowly come to seated, slowly, slowly, breathing continuously. We're just going to stretch out our waist and our hips. And you're going to stay seated on your, keep your seat bones on the mat or on your block. So we lengthen, keep the arms lengthened, don't bend them. Chest out to the sun. I'm in between that double glazing, keeping my seat bones glued to the mat or your block and lengthen forward, keeping that arm really straight. Lengthen, feeling a lovely deep stretch down my right to your left side. Now my chest is out to the sun, shoulders down my back pockets. Pause, pulling your belly button, spine, protect your lumbar spine as we come back to center. So lengthen, keep those arms nice and lengthened, chest out to the sun. Stay weighted on your seat bones, really weighted on your seat bones, and lengthen forward. Look down at the mat. Really lengthen through the joints. Keep the arm lengthened. Pull the belly button to the spine as you lengthen back to center. And we're going to come to 4-point kneeling, tap our toes under. For those with lumbar spine issues, step forward and come up. So tuck your toes under, Pilates stance, gluing your heels together, feet at a 90-degree angle, pushing into your heels, let the top of your body hang, seat bone, push into your heels, tailbone up to the ceiling, let the top of your body hang, totally let the top of your body hang, so you restack and pull the belly button spine, and really feel the deep core muscles are restacking your spine. I can really feel my deep core muscles are restacking my spine. Lovely deep stretch, but we're continuously working those deep core muscles. We're lengthening our arms over our heads, arm circles. Only if you want to, you can come up onto your tiptoes, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Keep those arms nice and lengthened. Or you can stay on your tiptoes. Again, this is working your deep core muscles. Focus on a point out in front. We'll just do one more. Lengthen through the joints. Keep those arms nice and straight. And back to center.